about care plans and conversations is that we have to keep on having them, right? We might have to update them. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the 6 Ds, because the 6 Ds allows us to think about, to be mindful of when we might need to develop that care plan or update that care plan, and maybe look at those documents that accompany that care plan. So the first one is a decade. So that's the first D, okay? A decade, we're thinking 10 years. And we know a lot can happen within 10 years. So we just want to make sure that we have that document at least updated, or the documents in the care plan at least updated every 10 years. Now, I want to let you know that these documents are not written in stone. You can update them as often as you want or as you need. I mean, we've learned that sometimes we need to update these documents every 10 months, maybe even every 10 weeks. That's okay, because things in life change, not only for our loved ones, but for ourselves. We use the term divorce because it starts with a D, right? But it can be other life events as well. It can be marriage. It can be a promotion. It can be moving. It can be all these different things, children, pets. So oftentimes what we have to think about is there a life event, or are there changes going on with the person who is going to make decisions for us if in the event we can no longer speak for ourselves. So with these conversations, with this care plan, maybe we've determined that the person, our healthcare agent, just got married, and they're moving. So they're not going to be as available to you. And therefore, we might need to update our care plan and those documents that accompany that. Oftentimes, when we receive word of a diagnosis, it could be a mental health diagnosis, it can be a medical diagnosis, it can be a cognitive diagnosis. We want to make sure that we are updating those documents, especially because our decisions, our wishes may change as well. Sometimes when we notice a decline, if we start to notice we're concerned for our loved one's safety, say for example, or we start to notice less ability to walk as independently as before, or to get around and to do things and carry out what we call activities of daily living, the things that you and I take for granted every day. We want to make sure that we are revisiting that plan of care and those documents that accompany it. The next is disaster. And that was a recently added D, because there are a few scenarios where we need to think about redoing our care plan in relation to disaster. One could be a natural disaster where our documents can get destroyed. Another can be something that affected our community that makes us reevaluate that care plan and the plans that we need to make along with it. The other thing I just want to add about this is when we make these documents, when we have our care plan in our documents, we really want to make sure that everyone involved with our care plan has these documents, so that there's not going to be any question as to where to find it, how to find it, and if it gets destroyed. The final D is death. And it's not what you think it is. Well, it is. I mean, it's kind of like when a lot of times what might happen, we talk about things that can happen unexpected in life, right? So maybe the person we have designated as our power of attorney has passed away, and we need to then update our care plan and our documents. And maybe a person has not necessarily passed away, but someone close to them has, and they're grieving. And because of that grieving process, they may no longer be able to act as your agent. So these are all considerations we need to make with the 6 Ds, which is decade, divorce, diagnosis, decline, disaster, and death.